So hi guys, Tim here, welcome back in my second part, or the second episode of the British tactics through the ages videos. So last video I spoke about the tactic used by the British kind of a militia army in the 1640s/1650s, English Civil War. You know, where you had the Swedish sleeve and the Dutch countermarch. But this episode we're going to talk about the general 1700s British tactics. Now a lot of things, several things have changed, and especially the British Army's updated. You know, it's now a proper fighting force. You know, it could take on the world and everything. And it would definitely, by the turn of the century, 1800, it would definitely be taken on the world. Again, the French, and against in the 1700s they fought the French, and mainly the Americans in the American War of Independence. But there was things. So the red uniform was properly adopted officially by the British Army in the 1700s. The tricorn black hat was adopted. The brand new state-of-the-art weapon, the flintlock musket, or the Brown Bess, or technically the land pattern musket, which was adopted in 1722. Well, some people say 1722 or 1725. It's not really known exactly why, but I say 1722. But anyway, land pattern musket or Brown Bess, adopted by the British Army 1722, or in 1722. And as I said, a much more upgraded fighting force to take on the world. Well, that's what they thought in those days. So, so as I say, next episode, this episode on tactics was the British Army had changed its kind of bit confusing tactics of having two, which was the Swedish sleeve and the Dutch countermarch, which was from the English Civil War, 1640s, 1650s type, and they've kind of honed it down as one, kind of put them together, one bigger, better version of it, which has come to known today as the line infantry tactics, which you would have a company of a good 100 or so men, well, more than 100, good 500 or so men in a long line, and then you have tightly packed together another row which is tightly packed together, firing over the shoulder of the incoming, when the incoming enemy comes. So for example, if there's a massive French charge by French troops, the British Army would get into their line and then fire one massive volley. The British Army was still in the volley firing stage of not just sending one or two or three musket balls down range. They would have thousands of musket balls down range, which will be quite noted in the next episode. And now, if I just show you a kind of a description of how that was, this is technically a kind of diagram of later, of kind of the more 1800s, the Battle of Waterloo, but the principle didn't change through the 115 years. So there, what's it called there? So first rank. So the first rank, these men there. Then you've got the second rank, which is these men there, are basically very nestled together in one big long company, and they would fire one massive volley. Kind of the tactic at the time really was to fire a massive volley, then reload, and the way the sergeant or the officer would call out, he would say, "Make ready, present," and then they'll fire. On the word fire, they'll fire one massive volley, which of course the land pattern muskets, or the Brown Bess, was still using the lead kind of musket ball. There. Yeah. Again, much faster, waterproof and state-of-the-art weapon than a matchlock musket. And it had a flint, sometimes, of course, known as a flintlock musket, because they used the flint. Still powder, still black powder, still created a lot of smoke. Now, during the 1700s, the British and the French, mainly the French and the British, and a load of other European countries, had used the horse and cavalry charges far. I mean, the horse has been around forever. So the cavalry charge has been around for many years, but it was in the 1700s the British and the French really used them much more effectively. So the way of countering the French or opponent's cavalry charge was exactly the same way as they would to an oncoming French or American infantry, which was stand in the line, wait until the horses come in range, meaning range is 60 to 75 yards, and then fire. Because during the English Civil War, back in the 1600s, the range was roughly about 40-50 yards, and this time, in the 1700s, the range of a Brown Bess would be roughly 60 to 75 yards. That's why the British Army, also again the British Army tactics would be either to wait for the enemy to come in range within the 60 to 75 yards, then fire, or for the British to march up to the enemy and then hold and then wait its ground and then give the order to make ready, present and fire when the 60-75 yards come up. That's where the old saying comes from, wait until you can see the white of their eyes, which is an old saying, which is basically wait until they get as close as you can, basically meaning that you can see them like you basically got your nose pressed up against them and see the white of their eyes, where it came from. And again, the whole of the 1700s, the British Army used this tactic. Again, line infantry tactic, nestled together, one massive kind of company of men firing, two ranks of men firing one volley. This was used against oncoming enemy horses and against stand infantrymen. So, thanks for watching, guys. That's been a little quick, second part or second episode on the British tactics of through the ages, the 1700s. And in next episode, we'll be talking about the tactics more famously used in the 1800s, the very famous rifle regiments. During the 1700s there were riflemen around, but not specific regiments for those rifles to be used in. It was mainly just militia, especially on the American front, being used with the kind of the Kentucky long rifle and things like that. But yeah, next episode will be the 1800s British tactics during that time of the battle, and also the Battle of Waterloo, and also the famous rifle regiments, and also the later kind of 1880s, 1890s tactics, which were, well, you'll see. So, thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one, and hope all the best. See yous. Bye.